Thank you, Madam Chair, for allowing me to be part of your record here regarding the consideration of H.R. 252. Initially, I would like to, through the process, your process of unanimous consent, ask that a letter that I am offering dated July 8th, 2019, from the Pershing County Board of Commissioners be included within your record on the matter of H.R. 252 today.
Without objection.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To you and to the ranking member, it's a privilege to be here again. This is not the first time that this committee has considered this piece of legislation. In the last Congress, it was passed under unanimous consent out of this committee, went to the floor of the House, and passed by voice vote under the suspension calendar. I will not speculate for you what happened in the Senate because, quite frankly, I'm not cool enough to know what goes on over there, so let's just say we'd like to give them another opportunity to agree with this committee and its prior actions. I'm going to just summarize it briefly for you and then maybe anticipate a couple of the concerns that came up from the Department of Interior last year. Quite frankly, Pershing County is one of those counties in Nevada which you may know as the home to the Burning Man event, which is held in the western part of Pershing County. This bill does nothing to affect the Burning Man event, so please relax, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a backdoor run for that sort of thing. The county is over 90% federally owned. This authorizes potentially up to 300,000 acres of checkerboard land along the old Transcontinental Railroad to be consolidated for potential sale. That represents about 11% of the federal holdings in the county. But I want to point out a fact that's fairly salient to this, and that is the authorization of land for sale via federal lands bills in Nevada does not mean the land gets sold. I would call your attention to the Southern Nevada Public Lands Management Act, which turned 20 last year, one of the most successful pieces of public lands legislation in the history of the nation, authorized 70,000 acres in Clark County, known to many of you as the home of Las Vegas, to be sold. In the 20 years, approximately half of that was sold in one of the most active financial real estate markets in the country, an average of 1,700 acres a year in one of the most active real estate markets in the Southwest. In many of these acts, we've had to go back through this committee and amend the expiration dates because, quite frankly, the land hasn't sold. What it represents is an opportunity for local planning and zoning folks to use a tool when they decide what their responsible economic growth is for future planning and zoning purposes. You should know that not only does the Pershing County Board of Commissioners support it by virtue of the letter in your record, which is the primary planning and zoning authority for the county, but also you have Friends of Nevada Wilderness, several mining companies, Pew Charitable Trust, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, and Coalition for Nevada's Wildlife in support, which is part of the reason this bill has previously enjoyed strong support from this committee in terms of whether or not to send it to the floor with a favorable recommendation. There have been concerns expressed in the Senate hearing, I believe, in the last Congress by the Department of Interior regarding access if you deal with checkerboard issues in this. I would point out that there is specific language in the bill itself that talks about not cutting people off from access, so I'm not sure what the basis of that is. Also, I would also indicate that quite frankly, when I hear of this, unless something's changed, you have no indication from the field office manager, the district manager, or the state director of the Bureau of Land Management providing you with specific reasons why there's a problem. So quite frankly, if it's okay with you, Madam Chair, I would like to stick around and listen to what the Department of Interior has to say about the bill a couple of years later after those concerns have been specifically included within the language that deals with it in a way that I think is quite favorable to all concerned. And with that, Madam Chair, unless there are questions for me, I would yield back.